This week, we're talking about a movie that a lot of people say killed their childhood, but I just think those people just never grew up. Welcome to the Out of Touch podcast. I'm Chris, that's Bill, and this week we are talking about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So, Bill, why did you want to talk about this movie in particular?
Well, I figured with the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which is basically Star Wars Episode 3.5 coming out soon, why not go back and revisit the prequels?
Yeah, totally. I guess Star Wars Episode 1, this movie gets shit on a lot.
Less so than it used to.
Yes.
There's a bit of an age divide between the people that utterly despise this movie, and the people that really like it, or just like, it's pretty good.
Yeah. I guess we kind of fall into... We were, like, kind of the right age for this movie.
Yeah, we were like 9-10 years old when it came out.
Yeah, so this was kind of, like, cool for us. I mean, the short version, I guess, of my thoughts of this movie, and we'll go with details. I think this movie is okay. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people think it is. I also think it's not as good as a lot of people think it is with all the subtext that they try to include with this, with expanded material and stuff.
I've never been one to really add to the subtext of movies, especially the Star Wars movies, due to their tendency to be like, well, you see, if you've read the comic, fuck you!
Yeah.
Fuck you! Nothing in the sequels makes sense just because it was explained in a comic and or a novel. That is all bullshit. I don't care if Admiral What's-Her-Face is more expanded and explained in a frickin' novel. She's nothing in the movie.
Movies don't get better if you do homework, because homework sucks. So, where do we start talking about Star Wars The Phantom Menace?
I guess we should take it all the way back to the 90s.
Yes.
So, I remember as a kid, Dad taking me and my brothers to see the Star Wars re-releases, the special editions.
Yeah.
Saw 2 of them on the big screen. For some reason, not Return of the Jedi. Never understood why. And we would always talk about, like, what happened before, like, because we would read on, like, the toys. It's like, Anakin Skywalker became Darth Vader and after a duel with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it kind of got our imaginations, like, on fire. And, like, one time, me and one of my brothers, we were playing a game that just somehow turned into an Obi-Wan Anakin adventure, and then ended with him turning into Darth Vader after a vicious battle, and we were just amusing. It's like, oh, it'd be so cool if they made those movies. And then, like, not long after that, the prequels got announced, and we were like, holy shit, they're making those movies. So basically, from my perspective, the entire prequel trilogy was just me waiting for that fateful day when Anakin and Obi-Wan fought on a volcano, or in this case, Volcano World.
Yeah, similar for me. My parents were really excited about, like, when they re-released Star Wars. They took me and my sister to see all of them. And they took us to see Phantom Menace when it came out. I didn't really play with Star Wars toys that much as a kid until the prequels.
Episode 1 was the last time I got Star Wars toys back then. Like, I had a bunch of, like, figures from, like, there's some Shadows of the Empire stuff, and your random Star Wars figures of, like, Luke, Han, Chewie, and all that, and, like, the vehicles and stuff. But the last gasp of, like, action figures was just, I had pretty much everybody. Between me and one of my brothers, we had your Obi-Wan, your Anakin, your Qui-Gon, Darth Maul, and all them.
Yeah, for this movie, I remember the Legos the most. I had the Pod Racer, which was awesome. In fact, Pod Racers are, like, my favorite part of this movie. I had the Gungan underwater ship that they do in, like, that one scene. That set was awesome.
Okay.
And I think that might have been it.
I had the Naboo Starfighter, but I don't think I got it when that movie first came out. I think I got it after one of the other prequels came out.
Yeah, I think I had the Naboo Starfighter as well. And I had a bunch of the Lego, like, Roger droids. And I tried to build that thing, like, those, like, tanks that they have when the droids come out of the tanks and they kind of get, like, dropped off by that, like, mechanism.
Right.
I tried to build that thing out of Legos. I sort of succeeded, but I just didn't have enough of the little droids to put inside of it. But, yeah, Phantom Menace, for me, like, I saw Star Wars already, but this was kind of, like, I saw the other Star Wars movies, like, they were cool, but I don't know, this movie, I just remember more than anything my parents being like really excited about this movie. And some of the promotion stuff like looked really cool. Like I remember the poster with, Anakin and then like the shadow is like Darth Vader. And
I remember
like,
that.
I was like, okay, that's cool.
I actually remember, this is so stupid, but there was like a promotion that was done across Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and KFC with this movie.
Kintaco Slut.
Yeah, because they're all owned by the same company. So
Yeah.
like, rather than only one of them have kids meal toys, they all did, I guess, or whatever. And I just remember seeing commercials where like you had Colonel Sanders with a white lightsaber, a Pizza Hut waitress with a blaster, and then the little freaking Chihuahua facing down like an army of battle droids.
Nice.
It's just such a weird random memory I have from back then.
Yeah. I feel like this movie was, when we were kids, like it was like one of the bigger movies that I remember like so many people were excited about.
I mean, it was the first Star Wars movie since the 80s, so of course it was going to be a big deal.
Yeah, I think like it was the first instance of me like seeing like the hype. Like I was like,
Definitely,
people
yeah.
are like deliriously excited about this movie for some reason.
I mean, they were clever enough to re-release the originals like 2 years before.
Yeah.
You get people reminded like, oh, Star Wars is awesome. You get a whole bunch of kids into Star Wars again. Like that's kind of what happened with me and my brothers.
Yeah.
And then it's like, hey, what? Guess what? More.
Yeah.
Kind of brilliant.
Yeah. So, I guess let's get into the actual movie then.
All right. Trade disputes.
Doesn't bother me that much, honestly.
It's not that big to the story. Like the way people talk about this movie, sometimes you think this movie actually is 90% dialogue about trade regulations.
No.
There's one scene in a Senate, and it just shows you how much the Senate sucks and how it's basically just broken.
And to be fair, I think that's one of the better scenes in the movie.
Yeah, because it's Palpatine just manipulating the entire thing. He's
So
the best
good.
part of the prequels.
Yeah.
And that is like one of his big moments, because he's not in episode 1 a lot, but at least as Palpatine.
Yeah.
And that's where you see him like pulling the strings. He's basically manipulating Padme throughout that entire scene. It's great.
And yeah, it's not even like real Padme. It's like
No, in that scene, it's real Padme.
it is real Padme.
I've kind of figured out when it's not real Padme and when it's Keira Knightley.
Okay.
Like when we first see her, I'm pretty sure it's real Padme. She's got that weird red dress and the what the fuck going on with the hair.
I think that's cool though.
And then when the droid army invades, when they capture her, she's in a different outfit. That's the fake. That's when she does the switch.
Okay.
And then she stays switched pretty much until she gets to Coruscant, because she's cleaning R2. She goes with Qui-Gon to Tatooine, but then she switches back to talk to the Senate. She goes there and does that herself.
Right.
She wouldn't have a stand-in do that.
Yeah. I guess sort of get into it before we go into detail. So the Jedi are there as peacekeepers because that's what the Jedi do. They're there to negotiate.
They're basically sent there by the Chancellor to be like, hey, can we not do this whole blockade thing?
Yeah, essentially this trade federation is pretty much trying to like take over Naboo.
Well, that's their actual plan, but they're doing it under the guise of like, this is just a trade blockade. We're disputing, we're mad about taxes, but really, well, they're just being told what to do by Darth Sidious.
Yeah.
The entire time. They're just pawns.
Yeah, pretty much.
Palpatine gets Palpatine wins once he gets nominated for Chancellor. He's like, I already got what I want. He doesn't care about anything that happens after that.
Yeah.
Like he goes like, yeah, kill them all. Fuck it, I don't care. But he actually doesn't give a shit about what happens after that. He got what he wanted in the end, and that was to be elected Chancellor.
Yeah.
Anything else that happened after that didn't matter. Except, oh, who's this Anakin boy?
Yeah. It's interesting because at the beginning of the movie, we see Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and like this is the first instance of like us actually seeing like, oh, this is like Jedi, and the whole Jedi Order is around, and we get to see what Jedi do, and they're sort of just like, I guess like cops in a weird way.
Sort of.
Like they're
Sometimes.
diplomats, but they also beat people up sometimes.
They're lots of different things.
Yeah.
I think Qui-Gon says it, we're keepers of the peace, not soldiers.
Yeah.
So it's like, look, we're not going to do anything, but fuck around and find out, pal.
Yeah, we got laser swords and magic powers, and and I know one thing that's kind of infamous at the beginning of the movie is when they do their like speed run thing.
It's weird because it's the only time they ever do it.
It didn't look as weird as I remember it, but then again, I was watching it on Disney Plus, and I don't know. I know episode 1 has been messed with a little bit, and some of the things that I think have changed are for the better, but
it's mostly just like there's a couple scenes added and CGI Yoda. I don't think anything else was messed with.
Yeah, I just remember that speed thing not looking good, but when I watched it again, I was like, this is fine.
Because it's just like a quick blur effect and then they're just down the hallway.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the effect. It's just like the sudden use of a power that we never see again. That is kind of weird.
It is weird.
Now, I know a lot of people say, well, why didn't Obi-Wan use it to catch up to Qui-Gon? Here's my Marvel no prize for that. See, he does a big jump before that, and his force bar is empty. He's got to wait till it fill back up.
Makes sense.
That's me playing Star Wars video games growing up.
Yeah.
It's like his force bar is not full yet. He can't do another power yet.
But, yeah, I guess, like, get into it. They're on that planet Naboo. That's where we meet Padme, or Queen Amidala, which she looks, like, so, like, crazy in this movie. Like, she never looks like this again, but it's kind of, like, interesting the way she looks.
It seems to be something that she just did because she was the Queen of Naboo.
Yeah.
An elected monarch.
Yeah. And it definitely makes this movie feel, like, very, like, unique compared to the other Star Wars movies. I mean, Phantom Menace has, like, I guess, like, the most, like, unique flavor out of the prequels, just because I feel like 2 and 3 are kind of similar to each other, but we'll get into it when we talk about those eventually. But number 1 is kind of like, all right, this was, like, the first Star Wars movie we haven't made in 20 years, and I feel like they really were like, we gotta, like, do so much, like, crazy things in this movie. Like, this movie's, like, all about, like, visual effects and stuff. And
it is a massive combination of, there's a lot of more practical stuff than I think anyone gives it credit for. A lot of models.
Yeah.
All those palaces and stuff. The arena where the pod race happens, that's a model. And, you know, we get some puppets. We get obviously a lot more CGI characters now.
Yeah.
Jar Jar Binks being the most infamous, I guess.
Yeah. Who is introduced suddenly in the movie, and I will say
he's just kind of walking along being like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and Qui-Gon saves him, and kind of like, okay, he's tagging along now. I will say he's not as annoying as I think a lot of people think he is, but at the same time, I can agree that he really feels like he doesn't belong in this movie. Plus, he is kind of offensive in some ways, too. He is, like, a weird character, but
The one thing was weird, I kind of only noticed after, like, going back to the movie after, like, not really watching it in a while. It's like, you know, the way people think about Jar Jar, you think he was in, like, every scene being like, whoa, 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 but it's like, there's, like, a point in the movie where he kind of just fades to the background for a while, and, like, every once in a while it cuts to him and he's be like, dude, that's a minor goofy thing, and then it just doesn't focus on him, and then he gets his, like, craziness in the battle, which I actually kind of enjoy his shenanigans in the battle.
yeah, that's one of his better scenes. Like, there's, like, the scenes where he's just, like, working on the pod racer, and you're just like, does he know anything about engineering? Like, and then he, like, sticks his tongue in, like, the electric field between the two pods and stuff, but
George Lucas, I think, was just trying to entertain small children.
yeah. And for the most part, I think when I was a kid, I thought it was fine. You know, only, like, being older, I'm kind of like, I don't hate this character, but he's, like, kind of, like, weird being in this movie. But I guess, like, the best way to talk about this movie is just, like, talk about the characters instead of doing a beat for the plot, because this movie moves at a blistering pace.
Look, if you want the plot of Phantom Menace, just listen to the Weird Al song. It covers most of it.
Yeah, totally. Why don't we talk about Qui-Gon Jinn, who is
Probably the best character in this movie that's not Palpatine.
Yeah, he is super cool, and he's like a gigantic man, because Liam Neeson is so tall.
He really is.
And it's so apparent in this movie.
And it's to the movie's benefit because, you know, some of these characters are meant to be younger than they kind of were and meant to grow up. So you have, like, the contrast of this giant man. So when he's not there in the next movie, it's like, oh yeah, Padme, she's grown up now. She's not basically the same height, but we don't know that because there's no giant Liam Neeson around to show us.
Yeah. Like, Qui-Gon's an interesting character because you kind of get an impression through the movie that he's sort of like, he's a Jedi, but he's also like kind of like not really so into conforming to the rules, especially with his like interactions with like the council later on, and just like the way like Obi-Wan is just always being like, oh, like, I don't think this is a good idea, Master. And Qui-Gon's like, it's fine.
He's the guy that's like, it's more like guidelines, not rules. He's like the last vestige of like probably how Jedi maybe once were.
Yeah.
Because like, I think like everyone else has just got sticks up their butts at this point. And Obi-Wan's got like a line that he's just like, if you would just chill the fuck out, you'd be on the council. But Qui-Gon's just like, these guys are idiots. I'm not going to listen to them.
Yeah. And I hear like, always like some of the expanded material for Qui-Gon is like kind of like he was like the only Jedi that probably would have like realized, Darth Sidious was like taking over shit, but like he got killed. Because, like, he was the only one that was, like, the free thinker. Everybody else was just kind of like, we've done things like this for years, and we'll continue to doing things like this for years, and it will be fine. And I guess that's kind of the point of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, or at least, like, this trilogy.
Yeah, there's an obvious notion that the Jedi have kind of lost sight of things.
Yeah.
I think it was Dave Filoni and the Mandalorian behind the scenes stuff kind of explained the duel of the fates in that Qui-Gon's death also has repercussions in regards to Anakin, in that he would have been a better father figure for Anakin than Obi-Wan ultimately was, because Obi-Wan really wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan was probably definitely ready to be a Jedi, but he was not ready to be a teacher.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to be a father figure, so he could only sort of be an older brother figure at best.
Yeah, plus, like, Qui-Gon probably would have been kind of unconventional for training Anakin, just because, like, he understood, like, it's like, okay, like, I just took this kid away from his mom, which...
Qui-Gon would have been like, okay, we're going to go back for your mom.
Yeah, like, I get why they wouldn't do that, like...
Because Jedis aren't allowed to have connections or whatever. It's like, she's a slave.
Yeah, I mean, like, that weird bug guy who... I always forget his name.
Watto.
And, like, Watto, and he's just like, I have a offensive accent that I don't know who I'm making fun of. Italians, Eastern Europeans?
Jews? Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I'm offensive to all people.
Maybe that's the trick. Maybe that's the trick.
Yeah.
If you offend everybody, you offend nobody.
Yeah. But, like, I feel like they could have just been like, hey, this is Tatooine, right? Lightsaber, zoop. Okay, this shit is mine now.
Well, then he wouldn't be a Jedi. He'd be, like, a Sith.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't follow all the Jedi rules, but he's still he's not evil. He's not going to murder a guy.
That's true. But...
Qui-Gon's like, I got no time for this bullshit. Like, I'm not going to kill this guy, but I'll cheat to gamble. I'll trick him. I'll con a guy. I don't care.
Yeah.
He's very quick with the Jedi mind trick. He mind tricks Boss Nass. It's like, all right, you're just give us a ride. Okay, I'll give you a ride. And thank you.
It's weird because, like, out of a lot of the Star Wars movies, like, this movie in particular, I remember a lot of these characters, and maybe it's just because I was, like, the right age, because, like, I'm, like, Boss Nass and his, like, weird whatever he does when he's, like, talking, where he shakes his face and his jowls and whatever. Like, part of me is like, is he even like a Gungan? He looks like a frogman, but it's just like, no, he's just fat.
Yeah, he's just really fat.
Yeah. One of, like, the other side characters in this movie that I always remember is Sebulba. Like, oh, man, like, seeing him in the pod racing game. Do you remember that pod racing game?
I think I only ever played it once or twice.
Like, the one in the movie theater?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that game was so cool.
Yeah, people have fond memories of the pod racing games. There's, like, the console version, too.
Yeah. Like on the Nintendo 64, but yeah, I always remember Sebulba because it's just like he's all arms. He has like no legs.
Even his legs are arms.
Yeah, but he's a weird character. I guess like the next character that we should kind of get into, I guess we'll save Obi-Wan for maybe last.
Yeah, sure.
Or I don't know, because like
we'll do some good guys and then we'll switch to the bad guys. So we'll do the Obi-Wan now.
Okay.
All right. So Ewan McGregor is young Obi-Wan. Not in the movie enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was going to say, he really isn't in the movie that much. He's kind of like on the ship a lot of the movie.
He sits down most of the middle of the movie when they're on Tatooine. And he's just kind of on the ship being like, don't answer that phone.
Yeah.
What do you mean, Master? What are you talking about? All right, I'll see you later.
He's just like, this blood has a lot of midichlorians in it.
Like, I guess he could have just as easily been out there questioning what Qui-Gon was doing, but it was like, all right, look, we're going to have Padme doing that or Obi-Wan doing that. We're only going to have one person do that, so we'll have Padme do it.
Yeah, why not?
So I guess maybe there just wouldn't have been anything for him to do there. I don't know. But, I mean, I guess we could talk more about it as we go through these prequels, but Ewan McGregor is perfectly cast as young Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
He really is. He kind of looks like Alec Guinness. Freaking sounds like him a little bit. He just like a perfect, like not like imitation, but he just kind of like captures it.
Yeah,
the essence of the character.
When I was a kid, I remember too, like not the biggest Star Wars fan, but remember being the most excited about seeing like a young Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that could have just been my parents were like really excited about seeing young Obi-Wan Kenobi because he dies in the first movie.
Yeah, and he's
Star
just
Wars.
a ghost after that.
Yeah, so it's just like, oh, cool. We get to see like what this guy was actually about.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that being a source of interest for me and my brothers because it was just like he was like kind of the main connection to the original movies and in Phantom Menace. Like Yoda was there too, but it was like, oh shit, it's young Obi-Wan. That's crazy.
Yeah. Like, of course, like. I guess his big moment in this movie, but I guess we should save it till the end. Is like his duel with Darth Maul.
Yeah,
but we'll talk about that separately then, because that's like a whole thing. I have some like thoughts on. Like I like the scene, but there's like one particular part of it that I'm like, there's one thing that like I don't get about this.
All right, well, but I guess Anakin.
He's fine. I mean, I don't think he's as like weird as a lot of people.
He's a kid actor.
Yeah.
He does as good as most kid actors could do. Could they have done better? Maybe.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that maybe it would have been better if they cast Anakin slightly older.
Yeah.
And that way maybe you have the same guy in all three movies.
Yeah, that's true. Because like he's supposed to be 10 or 11. He's kind of like smart because he's good at like building stuff. But he also, you know, he can predict the future because of force powers and stuff, or at least like unintentionally.
Like quick, it looks like he has quick reflexes. They say.
Yeah, like young Anakin, he's not as like cringy as I would think he is, especially like the way people talk about him. I mean, he has that one scene with like Padme where he asks if she's like an angel. So it's like, okay, whatever. Like,
I mean, you try selling some of that dialogue.
Yeah, it's like. That's a weird line to say, but okay, whatever, space.
I mean, if he was a little older, you could have played it more flirty.
Yeah.
Like if they were like the same age.
Yeah. I always think it's funny, like, because the Robot Chicken sketch, I just have to say, as a child, I built the C-3PO.
It was a weird choice, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I get you want to put C-3PO in this movie, but you could have probably did it a different way. I don't know.
Yeah.
That doesn't really bother me. It's a choice. They made that choice, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of like...
He's barely in the movie. He's only in the middle.
Yeah. Also, I'm kind of, like, wondering, didn't they technically leave him on Tatooine?
Yeah, they did.
How does he get to in the other movies?
Watch Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, I totally forgot. But...
Anakin steals him back. He's like, this is mine.
That's right. Okay. Because I was like, wait, I thought they took 3PO with him.
No.
Huh.
I mean, it makes more sense that he stays behind in this because it's like, you need to look out for Mom, 3PO.
Yeah.
He fucking dropped the ball on that.
It's kind of interesting, too, because, like, I feel like maybe Anakin didn't, like, build him completely. It's
they
like
said he, like, scavenged a lot of parts, so you might have found a head.
Yeah.
Some arms, you know.
Yeah. He's just built out of junk. He looks cool in this movie. I remember having an action figure of C-3PO where, like, you could like take his armor off and then he would like look like all his like wires and stuff.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. And I always thought that was cool about him in this movie where he was kind of like R2-D2. It's like, you're naked. And he's just like, what?
I mean, we definitively know where C-3PO came from. R2-D2, he was just on the Naboo ship.
Yeah.
Who knows where he came from before that?
Yeah, he was just like a droid meant to like repair the Naboo ship. And
that's what he is. He's an
speaking of the Naboo ship, I love that Naboo ship. It's like really cool. It's like so like sleek looking and it's like all chrome.
So shiny.
Yeah.
Man, in that Tatooine sun's blind you, be like, I can't see.
Don't look directly at the ship.
Ah, my eyes.
But I think it's a really cool looking ship. And And in fact, I like a lot of the ships in the prequels. They look like really sleek compared to like the ones in the original trilogy. Like,
I think that's part of the idea is that things were like nicer
Yeah.
in this time period than they were during the events of the original trilogy because everything's just kind of shit because of the Empire.
Yeah. What other characters are there to talk about in
You
this
talk about
movie?
Padme.
Yeah.
Padme Amidala, the elected queen somehow.
Because Naboo is a weird planet. It's got like 2 different species. Like it's got the Gungans
Who are
and then the humans.
Oh yeah, clearly the Gungans are the native original species.
Yeah.
And some humans colonized it, I guess.
Yeah.
Insert your own subtext here, I suppose.
I like just one thing with the Gungans. I think their underwater city is pretty neat.
Yeah, we never really saw anything like that before.
Yeah.
Like that well done in a movie.
Yeah, and then the scene where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Jar Jar are driving around their submarine and keep getting attacked by monsters, and Qui-Gon's just like, there's always a bigger monster.
Fish.
Fish, right?
I mean, in the Star Wars universe, there is always a bigger monster because there's really not really that many animals, but there are a lot of monsters.
Yeah.
But back to Padme, she's fine. She does get easily manipulated by Palpatine in this movie.
Yeah.
But, it's weird that Naboo elects a child to be its leader because she's supposed to be like, I don't know, like 14 years old or something like that.
Yeah, to be fair, though, it's kind of smart, but at the same time sort of messed up that, like, she literally has her, like, decoy queen that, like, is like, here, wear all this crazy shit so people will shoot you instead of me. Like, her, like, makeup and, like, dresses is just pretty much, like, Target.
Pretty much. It's clever.
Yeah.
It's crazy that the body double is Keira Knightley.
Yeah, that is nuts. It's like 2, like, really well-known actresses in this movie.
One in her breakout role, one who, in a few years, will get to her breakout role in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Padme is okay in this movie, but her best scene is definitely that scene where, like, the Senate and then Palpatine's it's so
Dance,
good.
puppet dance.
Yeah, he's just like, he's saying all the right things. He's just like, these bureaucrats, like, they don't care about the people anymore. They just care about, like, their money and their power.
And you kind of realize as the movies go, it's like, oh, those bureaucrats, they work for Palpatine.
Yeah.
He's manipulating the entire thing.
And, like, he's talking about, like, the Chancellor and, like, how, like...
Obviously, we're talking about Palpatine now.
Yeah. Because why not? He's the best character.
I appreciate and kind of respect the fact that in this trilogy, they did not openly acknowledge that Palpatine and Darth Sidious were the same person, outside of that obvious foreshadowing scene at the end.
Yeah.
But they never, like, publicly admitted to it, even though it's the same guy that played the Emperor. I had a toy of the Emperor as a kid, and the box literally said Emperor Palpatine, so that's how I knew it was the same guy. But, it's fine, because there might be little kids that might not have realized that. And they were like, oh my goodness, when episode 3 came out.
I was one of those kids, but, like, my mom and dad, like, pretty much, like, spoiled it in the car when they were talking about the movie. Because, like the senator, because, like, my dad was like, oh, what's up with that senator guy? And then my mom's like, he's the Emperor. I was like, oh, really?
Yeah, I went into the movie knowing that.
Yeah.
Because it was just, I don't know, we were just talking about it. We just kind of, even as little kids, even without good internet, we kind of just were able to piece it together.
Yeah. But one thing I like too is, I don't get how the Galactic Senate works, but I guess like a leader of a nation or a planet can call for a vote of no confidence to the Chancellor. And that kind of like, that scene where like she's like, I call for a vote of no confidence, it's just like kind of like sort of see that like, okay, so like Palpatine is the senator of Naboo, and he's probably just been working all these people for like the past like couple of months to be like, yo, the Chancellor, he sucks.
Oh, absolutely.
I should be the Chancellor.
He's in the Senate commissary being like, oh, that Valorm guy, he's such a prick, right?
Yeah.
Come on, fuck this guy. He played Zod? Fucking Zod. What the fuck with that, man?
But it's like one of those things where like, she calls for the vote of no confidence. That guy just like sits down and he's just like, I'm done. Like my career's over.
Well, because the entire Senate just starts screaming, vote now, and he realizes like, well, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
And I love it. I don't know if I'd noticed it way before I saw it on the internet, but among the senators screaming, vote now, vote now. Obviously, we got some Wookiees, some other familiar Star Wars species, and ETs.
Yeah. I always look for the ETs now when I watch it.
I discovered them on my own. I was like, holy shit, it's ET.
Yeah.
I think I knew that Spielberg and Lucas were friends at that point. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's a fun shout out.
Yeah.
And of course, you got all these people that are like trying to like connect the franchises somehow. See, when E.T. thought that Yoda was an alien, he was recognizing Yoda's species. It's like, but Star Wars is a movie then in that universe. Well, no, you see, it's a movie because someone like passed it through the void of time and space.
Oh man.
I don't know. There's some weird dumb fan theories out there.
Yeah. Yeah, Palpatine is great, and he continues to be great in all three of these movies.
Yes. In fact, there's only one movie he's not great in.
Yes, you are correct, sir. Maybe someday. Actually, I don't really ever want to watch that movie ever again.
Look, if this YouTube channel makes money, maybe we'll consider it.
Okay. But,
let's talk real quick about some side characters.
yeah.
Yoda puppet versus CG Yoda. Where do you stand?
I like CG Yoda better, and I know it's sacrilege, but
Well,
I think he just looks better.
Here's why I say it's not sacrilege.
Yeah.
I think the Phantom Menace Yoda puppet was kind of wonky.
I don't even remember what it looks like, so...
I could show you a picture of it. It's definitely one of those things where like the Empire Strikes Back puppet, it looks good. It still looks pretty good. I don't know what happened with the Phantom Menace. Like, they tried to make him like look different. Like, I guess they were trying to make him look younger, even though he's like 900 years old.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have to look that much younger.
I think the one in The Last Jedi looked bad, too.
There was something off about that, too.
He was, like, too dark green.
Well, he was like glowy. Just for a quick mental memory, here's Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, yeah, that one looks good.
Looks great. Fantastic. But then, like...
Oh, God.
Yeah!
Whoa!
It looks weird, right?
Yeah.
No! What? I don't know what's going on there, but it looks weird. And...
His eyes are, like, too big.
Yeah, at the very least, changing him to CGI creates at least consistency within the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah. After seeing that picture, he looks... Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Why does the puppet in the 80s look much better? I don't get it.
Plus, I don't know if they added this scene or maybe just modified it, but there's a scene at the end of the movie where, like, Yoda's kind of just, like, talking to Obi-Wan, and he's kind of walking back and forth, and he's just like, "You're a Jedi Knight now." He's like, "I don't agree with you training the boy, but you'll train him because that was Qui-Gon's last wish, and his future is clouded in the Force." But he's, like, kind of walking back and forth.
That scene was always there.
Yeah.
And that scene actually contained the first time they did CG with Yoda. Like, there's, like, the establishing shot where we see a wide of the kneeling Obi-Wan and a walking Yoda. That was CGI.
Okay.
And then it cut to the puppet, but now it just cuts to CGI Yoda.
Yeah.
Like, that was the first, I guess that was like a test for, like, because I guess in the back of Lucas's mind, he was like, Yoda's he's gonna whip out a lightsaber and all the little kids are gonna love it.
I mean, he's cool. I like Yoda a lot in the Clone Wars cartoon. I don't remember exactly how he is in the movies, but except for, like, the Empire Strikes Back one where he's just like, "I'm acting crazy on purpose." But
I think it's a bigger role as the prequels progress.
Yeah. It's interesting because we see some of the Jedi Council, most notably Mace Windu,
Yep.
who kind of, like, I remember in the Clone Wars cartoon, he always kind of sort of had a attitude towards Anakin, or just kind of was just like, this kid, he's no chosen one. But yeah, it's interesting they give him his Jedi test where they're like, guess the thing on the screen before it appears.
If you get it right, you're a Jedi.
Yeah.
It's a weird test.
Yeah, because Jedis can see the future.
They're present.
Something. They have many powers, including super speed.
It's like someone, it's funny? Someone probably passed that test because they saw the reflection in the window.
Yeah.
And they're just a woefully unprepared Jedi.
Yeah. But, yeah, the Jedi Council is different, but cool, I guess. But it definitely does, like, lean into, like, the whole, like, at least when Qui-Gon's still around, he's just like, "Man, you guys suck." Like, Yeah, they're set in their way, so
And it doesn't help that Qui-Gon gets killed by Darth Maul.
yeah. I mean, what can you say about Darth Maul except he's visually awesome looking?
Has 3 lines in the entire movie.
Darth Maul is the same thing as Boba Fett. He is an awesome toy.
At least he had a cool fight scene.
Yes.
Can't say that about Boba Fett in the old movies.
Yeah. I mean, if we can, let's talk about that fight scene, or you think it's too soon still?
Okay, let's talk about it.
Okay. I like everything about the fight scene, but there's one part about the fight scene
Is it the end of the fight scene?
No. That I'm fine with that, but there's a scene where Qui-Gon is fighting Darth Maul, and they kind of get into this room that's separated by these shields.
Right.
Because it's like an energy core. And there's a part where Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul are all separated by these shields, and it's going to take some time. And Qui-Gon kind of just like sits there, and I'm kind of like wondering, why didn't Qui-Gon just be like, yo, who the hell are you? Because like, he's like, they're just like, oh, Sith, kill it. Instead of like just be like, dude, what's up? Like, who are you?
That
like,
would have
like,
been interesting.
What's your deal? Like, just to get a little bit of something with like Darth Maul at least being like, I'm Darth Maul, and then like Qui-Gon saying like that title of Darth, that's a Sith title, and then, you know, something like that. Like, we didn't get any, like, they never talk to each other once in the fight. It's kind of just like, it's time to fight because you're a Sith and we're a Jedi, and that's what we do. And everything, you know, they say about Qui-Gon and like the expanded material, it's kind of like, why didn't they give him any type of interaction with just like talk to each other? Like, how did you know we were on Tatooine? Like, what's going on here? Like, who are you?
I guess he could have been like, what's the Sith interest in the Trade Federation in Naboo? But Darth Maul wouldn't answer. He would have just been like, your death is my interest, or some bullshit.
Or even just a cliche of like Qui-Gon being like, you're a good fighter, I'm Qui-Gon, and then he's like, I'm Maul. Because if you think about it, they don't know his fucking name.
Okay.
That's why when he comes out in like the Clone Wars cartoon and Obi-Wan's just like Maul, I'm like, how does he know his name? He never knew his name.
Maybe the freaking Trade Federation guys said it.
Maybe. I guess that's
They're like,
true.
it wasn't us. It was Darth Maul.
Yeah.
It was Darth Maul all along.
Yeah. But the fight is awesome still. Especially the end with Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul.
Oh, some of the best moments of the fight are like when Obi-Wan's just like going all out. He cuts the lightsaber in half and shit. That's pretty sweet. If I have one nitpick with that fight, it has nothing to do with the fight itself. But when those doors open up and Darth Maul's there and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are like, you guys go, we got this. They're in a hangar, an air hangar. And they go to this weird giant energy core place. Why is that there?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like the
What?
power center of the castle or whatever.
But like, okay, why?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It is
I mean,
weird.
it looks interesting. I mean, it's kind of typical Star Wars. You know, no railings, lots of like platforms and stuff.
Yeah. Just like deep shaft to nowhere.
It's like, why is this so deep? Your mother.
Yeah. Oh, there was something else about the fight I wanted to say, but now I can't remember it. Oh no.
I guess there's one comment I have that's kind of like when Qui-Gon gets killed by Maul, Maul like whacks him right in the face with his lightsaber and he kills him. And Obi-Wan clearly learned from that circa Star Wars Rebels because Darth Maul went for that move and Obi-Wan sliced right through him.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a nice touch in Rebels when they did that.
Yeah. That's a cool scene in Rebels. And, you know, Darth Maul has gotten a lot more development in the cartoons and whatever.
Mostly the cartoons. And then he's randomly in that Solo movie. That must have confused the hell out of anyone that never saw any of the cartoons, which is, let's face it, most people.
Yeah. I will say one thing too I like is like at that end, like after that fight when, you know, Yoda briefly says like the thing about the Sith where he's just like, there's always two, no more, no less. Like, and then he's just like, did you kill the master or did you kill the apprentice? We have no way of knowing. Which is, I thought it was like kind of an interesting touch, like that rule of two thing. That was like the first time I heard of that.
This is the first time it was introduced.
Yeah. Because I guess I guess they just made it because like there was only two in the original Star Wars movie, Darth Vader and.
It's a good way of explaining why there just isn't an army of dudes with red lightsabers chasing Luke Skywalker in the original movies.
Yeah.
And it also works because, like, you play up the notion that the Sith are selfish. So, yeah, how could there be too many? I always liked none of it's, I guess, considered canon, but I don't give a fuck what they say. The idea of the rule of two was started by the guy Darth Bane, which that is technically canon.
Yeah.
Because when there was too many Sith,
they just killed each other
constantly.
Yeah. And I like the idea of the rule too. It's kind of a cool thing. It's just like one to have the power, one to seek the power.
Yeah.
It's like messed up, but kind of cool at the same time.
And just the fact that there's so few of them, it just makes them more dangerous because you just never know when one's gonna pop up.
Yeah. But it's cool. I like that aspect. One thing that's kind of neat too is I like the droids in the movie, like the droid army. I know they're like so disposable, and if you have a lightsaber, you're pretty much just
slice and dice
going through them. But I like the little roly-poly droids with the shields.
Well, those are actually showed as dangerous because they got the force fields.
Yeah. And I like the droid like ships that are like they're droids but they're also ships. They almost seem like they're proto TIE fighters in a weird way.
Yeah, the design is clearly evoking TIE fighters to a degree.
Yeah. It is kind of weird that this movie also like I guess like the Star Wars movies have this happen a lot is there's a space battle where they have to defeat a giant like ship or space station.
Yeah,
to stop a thing.
Yeah,
it's
they've
just
overplayed that.
Yeah, it's a trope.
An overplayed trope that should never be used in a Star Wars movie ever again.
Yeah, I like the Naboo Starfighter. It's cool. Yeah, but I guess we should talk about the best part about this movie for me, the pod racing, because I love it so much. It's so crazy and cool because you just have this arena of all these like crazy looking aliens. All these pod racer guys are so weird looking. Like some of like Sebulba is weird looking, but like some of the other ones, like there's this guy that he can't start his pod racing and he's like a weird egg bug man. And I'm like, this is nuts. But that whole scene is so cool, and I wish they expanded that more about like the pod racing and like the culture around it and stuff like that.
That scene is actually longer now than it was when it first came out.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if, I guess maybe the original DVD release had it too, but I had the movie on VHS originally, but there's like an extra lap. There's more to the beginning. We see more of the other pod racers.
Yeah. I just like all the stuff with the pod racing. I like how it's just this like weird, crazy sport in like Star Wars universe that honestly, like if they ever made like a movie about like just like some sort of like pod racing race about like some team trying to like win it, I'd be all for that. But
it wasn't pod racing, but I think that Star Wars Resistance show, at least initially, they were like space racers or some bullshit.
Okay, interesting. But I just think it's like so visually cool. Like they're just really neat looking things, and like you get to see like I don't know if that alien is like Jabba the Hutt or whatever, but there's like a big like Hutt alien guy.
Yeah, that's Jabba the Hutt. They even say his name.
Oh, that is Jabba.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought maybe Jabba wasn't born yet or something.
It's only 30 years in the past.
Okay.
We don't know how old Jabba was when he died.
Yeah, they're weird slugmen. So.
Yeah, he could probably live to be a couple hundred years old. We don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But like one of those weird two-headed guys was like, Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that whole scene is really great, and it's just really impressive too, like some of the visual effects in it and everything.
So, I really have no issues with the pod race stuff. I'm fine with it. It's like, oh, it's interesting. But one of my brothers, my oldest brother, I don't know how he currently feels about it, but back in the day, he hated the pod racing.
Really?
I think it has partly to do that he's always kind of not liked chase scenes.
Okay.
Especially when it's just like, vroom, vroom.
Yeah.
And he always wanted to fast forward through that scene when we would watch it.
Oh man, that's so crazy.
I remember when I was switching to the DVDs, it's like, hey, yeah, it's got some more scenes. He's like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, the pod race is longer. He was like, ah.
Wow.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
I think it's cool.
I don't really know how he currently feels about it. Maybe maybe the sequel trilogy is left and being like, those pod races, they ain't so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, maybe I like it more just because, like, I remember playing the video games as a kid. I remember, like, building, like, I had the Anakin Skywalker pod racer, but I remember building a bunch of other ones to, like, have, like, a pod race of my own. Like, that type of stuff, like, I like the technology aspect of when Anakin's, like, building his pod racer, and it's, like, all, like, junky and shit at first. I mean, you have the scene that everybody quotes where the one kid's just like, wizard, which the Mandalorian said that.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Weird.
Yeah.
There is a deleted scene that you can find from around the time Anakin was working on the thing where he's like fighting another one of those little alien kids and he gets pulled away. I guess the idea was like showing that Anakin has like an angry side. I don't even remember what the reasoning was. Maybe he called his mom a slut or some bullshit. I don't know. Oh, it's like, your mom's a whore, Anakin. Fuck you. I'll kill you.
Oh, jeez.
But like,
that's hardcore.
I don't. It was probably something dumber. I don't remember the real reason.
Force chokes him.
But like the little alien kid was like, when like one kid was like to the little alien kid that Anakin was fighting, like, oh, you better be careful in the future, Greedo.
Oh, wow.
It's like, glad that, that doesn't need to be there.
Don't do that.
Well, they didn't because it's cut.
Yeah. I don't know. I always remember the pod race in this, and that, I don't know, that scene's like a highlight for me, but it's like that scene, the scene between Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul, but that space battle, I feel like it's not one of the greater space battles. It's kind of messy, and
there's not a lot
what's happening.
There really isn't a lot to it. We don't cut to it that much. The focus is really just on Anakin being like, oh my god, and he's being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It kind of works on that regard. But I'll say this, and it still kind of amuses me to this day, that in that space battle, in these movies, people either speak with like kind of your generic American accent or like a British accent or something of that effect.
Yeah.
But in that space battle, there's just a dude who's just like, the deflector shield is too strong.
Yeah.
It's just like, shit, there's like a New Yorker here.
He's from planet New York. Space New York.
Yes. It always just like stuck out to me because you just don't hear anyone talking like that in Star Wars.
Yeah. Never
before that, never since that.
That is funny. That's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess like this movie ends with can you tell me what the hell is like that orb of power they're holding at the end of the movie?
I think it's just like an offering of like it's like a space medal almost. Like,
yeah.
It's just like, here's a nice shiny thing, buddies. We're friends now.
Here's Obnauticus, our god.
I mean, I guess there's probably some Star Wars fan theories where like that was something that the early settlers of Naboo stole from the Gungans when they pushed them into the sea.
Yeah, I bet. There's always shit like that in Star Wars.
I think it's not really meant to be anything other than like a gift.
Yeah, it's just crazy looking, and it's just like, should you be holding that with your hands?
Don't worry about it, it's space.
It's like spewing energy out, and
we're in the future that's also the past or some bullshit, so it's fine.
Yeah.
One thing I actually like about that scene too, and I didn't know this till years later, it's like the music in that scene is like an inverse of the Emperor's theme.
Oh, interesting.
This lets you know who really won in the end.
Yeah. I do like when Palpatine like becomes Chancellor and he's just like, oh, I had no idea this would happen. What are the odds of me being elected? And look at my weird puffy coat and weird pants I wear in this movie.
He's good.
He is good.
I'm so glad that they didn't cast old for the Emperor in Return of the Jedi. They just put a dude in makeup, so they were just able to bring him back.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah, totally. It's a fun movie, but, you know, it kind of sometimes feels a little, like, fast to me.
I really bumped into it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just used to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this movie's as bad as a lot of people, like, say it is.
I mean, it had the weight of expectations, so I get that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. Like I said, there's like a weird, almost generational gap when it comes to feelings on the prequels.
Yeah, like people have like such intense feelings about Star Wars sometimes, which is kind of weird.
So much so that they'll like make documentaries about how mad George Lucas made them.
Yeah.
They'll white knight The Last Jedi to no end. It's like, guys, they're just movies.
Yeah.
You can like them, you can hate them. It's fine.
I guess like a lot of people like really tie their like identity onto Star Wars, and then when it's bad, they're like, "How can it be this bad?"
Or how could people think it's bad? It's so good. I loved it. It made me cry. Why did it make you cry? Oh, I know why it made you cry, because you were remembering something from something different.
Yeah. I don't know. Like the community around Star Wars sometimes could seem like a little weird, like so much so.
A little?
Well, a lot weird. So much so that, like, I have a friend that, like, literally just refuses to watch anything about Star Wars now because he's just like, those people take it way too seriously, and I can't.
Well, here's something I figured out. I don't know when I figured it out, but I kind of figured it out that just ignore the weird hardcore fans of anything. This is not just a Star Wars thing. This is with anything. And I'm not talking about like people who like a thing a lot. I'm talking about the people that will get mad if you don't like it, or get mad that you like it and they hate it.
Yeah.
Like, you just need to ignore those people because there's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
Because most people, it's like, oh, I didn't like that movie. Oh, really? I did. Oh, yeah, why? I'm like, oh, this. It's like, oh, well, all right, well, I didn't like this part. I'm like, yeah, I don't like that part either. But I like this part a lot. It's like, yeah, I guess that part was okay. Those are the people you want to interact with. People you could actually have civil conversations with.
Yeah. People can be very intense about
like, look,
certain things.
It's clearly no secret I don't like the sequel movies. Thing is, I know some that also don't like them, but I also know people that actually do like it. Guess what? I can get along with people like that, because at the end of the day, they're just fucking movies.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. You don't like it, go watch something else. You do like it, and watch what you like.
Yeah. And don't be mad if somebody hates it.
Yeah.
Just don't worry. Who cares?
Don't be mad if somebody likes something you don't like. That's
Stop
one thing
fighting.
I hate that. Yeah. Stop taking sides. This shit doesn't matter.
It's just a movie.
Yeah. But,
fucking hell.
Yeah.
Don't make documentaries about it either. That fucking People versus George Lucas hit piece bullshit.
Yeah.
God, that shit was disgusting.
Be happy. He sold Star Wars to Disney.
And now we're never not going to get Star Wars.
Yeah. But, I guess anything else about the Phantom Menace?
Not really. Great music.
Yeah.
John Williams, some of his best.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Good stuff. And double-bladed lightsaber. Never saw that before.
Yeah.
That was cool. We didn't mention it, really, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. Good visual.
It's what Darth Maul's known for, and I think he's the only person in the movies that actually has one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They almost gave Rey one in the last sequel movie till they scrapped that version and made Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Ugh. Maybe someday, but...
Maybe.
On that note, this is the Out of Touch podcast for this week. Thanks for watching. Hopefully our Star Wars conversation was fine.
And stay tuned for the next Star Wars Search for More Money thing.
Yeah. Episode 2. Someday.
Whatever.
You're a real colonel, right?